Okay, everything should be updated now. So this is a brew that I have created all by myself. I've done this twice now, where I've done something with this Lukka card. We're doing something a little bit more powerful than what we did with it last time. Last time we were trying to do fair things with Lukka and some goblins. Now we're going to try and do some unfair things and give the old mono red Skred list sort of a combo finisher. Mono red Skred used to play these cards, known as Eternal Scourge, and sometimes they'd play Squee the Immortal. I'm going to go ahead and play Squee the Immortal. I know it's not like the most common thing for Skred to play, but the thing about Squee the Immortal is that it's effectively just copies 5 and 6 of Eternal Scourge, so you really want, like a higher density of these creatures if you want to do the Lukka thing. So we're going to do some fair things today, fair-ish things. Play these guys, play this, exile this with this ability, put an emrakul into play. That's the idea, okay? Whether or not that pans out, I don't know. We're gonna see if it works. In addition to Lukka and Eternal Scourge and this combo that we're playing, got a lot of 1-mana removal spells in the form of Lightning Bolt and Skred, some graveyard interaction in the form of Relic of Progenitus. We are going to go ahead and play the Arcum's Astrolabes. This was something that I thought about for a little while, just considering whether or not I should actually play these. The thing about Arcum's Astrolabe is that it's a free snow permanent, so you can find it on scrying sheets, so you can just like pick this up. And you're not always just drawing lands with it in this deck. I know obviously if you wanted to dip into blue and green, you could potentially pick up the Ice Fang Quaddle, things like that, and that makes scrying sheets a lot more effective. But I went ahead and played these. Obviously the portion of it fixing our mana is not going to be super relevant most of the time. There may be, like a game where you draw a snow-covered mountain, scrying sheets, and you need an Arcum's Astrolabe to then create double red for something like Anger of the Gods, but it's not going to come up too often. Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should just be playing more copies of scrying sheets off the back of the fact that this card is in our deck now. Just having 4 scrying sheets is probably better than having 2 snow-covered mountains. But we'll go ahead and run it as I built it. And see how it does. So not the best opening hand. I'm going to go ahead and mulligan this. This one's fine. And we'll just bottom a mountain. Yep, turn 1 bird. We got lots of ways to deal with that, but we need to draw it. Relic is a fine draw. It's not great, but it's fine. Relic's a good interactive card in this matchup because not only does it help you manage your opponent's graveyards, but if any of the creatures that you have go to the graveyard, you can exile them and then recast them. So pretty interesting tidbit there. This looks like Jeskai Ascendancy combo, which our deck is not the greatest against, I'll be honest with you. Probably on this next turn, we're going to just abrade this bird. I'll go ahead and exile that card from their graveyard. The question becomes, do we abrade the bird and sort of leave down the relic activation? Because, I mean, there is a chance that they do something like Fate Stitcher, and they would need to bring that back from the graveyard. But I think since they already have 2 mana dorks in play, they don't have to do Fate Stitcher. Fate Stitcher just kind of helps them with their mana creatures. And we might be a little bit too slow on the draw here. Really the only thing that we have to answer this is an Anger of the Gods, so... Yep, and Amorphos is fine. Glittering Wish. And they're getting Silver Scale Ritual. I'm not familiar with this one. As an additional cast a spell, put a -1/-1 counter on a creature you control, draw 2 cards. Interesting. And they didn't cast it, so they want to leave this Gemstone Mine in play. Well, we're going to go ahead and Relic their graveyard. And then I'm just going to play a Scrying Sheets out. And like intend to activate this. If we need to, we can Skred something. There's not really any point to playing the Squee out this turn. Next turn, it could be relevant, but we can leave up mana for both Relic and Skred next turn, and also play the Squee. They're on 5 mana, which is a little scary. Yep, Jeskai Ascendancy's bad. What do we have in the sideboard for this? Not much, really. I guess Trinisphere helps a little bit. Should probably be playing like a Damping Sphere in the sideboard as a target for Karn. Thought Scour themselves. Draw and discard. And then they draw a card off the Thought Scour. So we need them to brick here. And it looks like they did, which is good for us. I'm just going to go ahead and scry. Pick up a mountain. And unfortunately, I don't think... Maybe the Karn is actually just better. If we go Karn minus for Trinisphere. Or they start to make a lot of mana when they get to untap both of these. But I think I need them to brick off one more turn. Because if I spend my turn Skredding this and like playing out Squee, the following turn I can play a Snow-Covered Mountain, play Lukka, and then turn the Squee into an emrakul. But then I need them to brick an additional turn. Whereas this way, if I play Karn and they brick this turn, although playing the Squee and Skred means that they have to brick with 1 mana dork rather than just 2. So maybe it's more likely that they brick with just 1 mana dork. Really need an Anger of the Gods. We're going to go with this line. I'm not convinced that it's correct. Gemstone Mine. Glittering Wish. Probably just means that I'm dead. Yeah, loot discard. That's fine. Getting another Jeskai Ascendancy. And then do we have a 1-mana cantrip in our hand? Or even a 2-mana one for that matter. Okay. Underworld Breach. Well, if I had known that Underworld Breach was part of their combo now, I probably would have left up the Relic of Progenitus. And I would have not cast the Squee. Okay, I'm going to let them do their thing. I don't know exactly what their win condition is now, so we're going to take a look at it. I believe that there is a multicolored fling style card. I can't remember the name of it. I could be wrong, but I think that's what they used to play. Multicolored because you can tutor it with Glittering Wish. Fairy Time Reveler. Fate Stitcher. Okay. Tap down the Squee. And then are they just attacking me with a Fate Stitcher? Like, is that the plan? Third Jeskai Ascendancy. Bounce the relic, draw a card. Tap on tap. Make small manas. And then they're just going to... I mean, I'm assuming... I wanted to make sure that, you know, I was getting this correctly on, like, what their win condition actually was. I don't know that they can cycle through their entire deck. Yeah, like, this card pulls 5, and they draw and discard 3 cards. Is this a mandatory ability? It's not mandatory. But assuming that they're going to continue to do that, I don't know that they can cast enough cards to pump this enough times and just attack me. So there has to be another piece to this that they just win with, like a fling or grape shot or something like that. So I want to make sure that I know what that card is before I just concede willy-nilly. I don't know that it's going to matter too much for the purposes of sideboarding, but I may as well check. Evidently, I should have gotten Karn and then just like gotten Tormod's Crypt or something. I don't know. Although the Karn probably would have died and I wouldn't be able to get Trinisphere. Cerulean Wisps. This looks like they're just going to attack me with 2 Fate Stitchers. Now that they've got 2, they get out of hand quite quickly in terms of size. which is fine. So I'm going to go ahead and concede to the 2 Fate Stitchers. So we've got Pillage, Anger of the Gods. These are both fine cards in this matchup. Blood Moon's obviously insane in this matchup. Just being able to turn off basically all of their mana aside from their mana dorks. Lightning Bolt and Skred are fine. It doesn't hit the hexproof creature, but it does hit the birds. Abrade's fine. Relic is quite good. Arkham's Astrolabe is like a kind of a free board out. Like we don't need it, but at the same time, it's a free card with scrying sheets and whatnot, like we talked about earlier. So the question becomes, is Pillage better than Arkham's Astrolabe? And I'll be honest with you, I don't think it is. I know Pillage is like fine at like helping manage their mana, but I think the only card that I really want here is an Anger of the Gods, and I'll board out like a Lukka. And we'll do it this way. Otherwise, like this seems like a relatively good matchup for us when we have a bunch of graveyard interaction and Anger of the Gods. Hopefully I don't just like straight jinx myself and we die again. But that's Magic sometimes. So we'll open on Relic. Yes, you can have a bird. Eternal Scourge is a good draw. Hopefully they just go like jamming creatures this turn. They just play. Well, that's not a creature. Abrade the bird. I'm just sort of valuing the Anger of the Gods being able to kill the hexproof creature, whereas Abrade does not. Yeah, that's fine. Mm-hmm. I'll exile a card from the graveyard. And we'll anger away the Sylvan Caryatid. I think I'm okay with them bouncing the Teferi, or bouncing the Relic rather. It sort of becomes a question of, do I want to let them draw a card, or do I want to maintain my graveyard hate? And I don't think I want to let them draw a card. Like, if they have the win this turn, they're going to have it anyways. Like, if I tap out here. Plus, if I manage to draw a Lightning Bolt there, then I can deal with the Teferi next turn. Jeskai Ascendancy. Serum Visions. Little bit unfortunate, but we will go ahead and play out an Eternal Scourge. Best case scenario for me, they tried to trade the Teferi for the Eternal Scourge, but now that they've found a Fate Stitcher, I'm not entirely sure that's going to happen. Yeah, this seems like they could be going for it here. Untap Temple Garden. Untap an island. Okay. Scar Scale Ritual. And I'll Skred this in response. Okay. Well, if we draw a land... Okay, we didn't draw land. We did draw a Karn, which is equally as good. I'm going to go grab Tormod's Crypt. Just smack them for 3. The following turn, even if we don't draw land, we can still Karn for Trinisphere, which is quite good. It's possible we should have one Darksteel Citadel in our sideboard, just for times like these when you sort of want to Karn for a land. Them trading the Teferi there for a card draw was probably the best thing that could have happened for us. They're gonna go ahead and Thought Scour themselves. I'm like totally fine with them Thought Scouring and doing all this other stuff as long as there's not a Fate Stitcher in the graveyard or an Underworld Breach in play. Then we can crack the Tormod's Crypt. Birds, birds. Okay, so the question becomes, do we Karn for Trinisphere or like Grafdigger's Cage? Something to that effect. I mean, even Ensnaring Bridge seems somewhat reasonable here because we can prevent them from attacking with the birds. My biggest thing is like if they were to play a Teferi and bounce my Trinisphere, Or my Graph Digger's Cage. Is there anything better that I can get that helps with that? I mean, we already have the Tormod's Crypt in play, so I think I'm going to... Or is just Angering better? Because we can go Anger plus Karn, go get Liquid Metal Coating, and then play Liquid Metal Coating, target one of their lands. That seems like probably the best line overall. I said plus Karn, in addition to activating Karn, but we're going to minus him, obviously, to go get Liquid Metal Coating. A minus here. I'm gonna go get Liquid Metal Coating, Anger, and this is obviously going to exile my Eternal Scourge, but that's totally fine because on my opponent's turn, we're gonna stop in their upkeep. That's totally fine because now that this is exile, we can cast it from exile. And I'm gonna go ahead and just lock down the breeding pool. Discarded an Abrupt Decay. Sylvan Carry added. Which is a little scary, I'll be honest with you. But then we drew another Anger of the Gods, so it doesn't matter. We'll do this. We'll eat this. Alright, the opponent concedes there. So, pretty A-okay. Results, I think we're going to just run it back as is. I don't think there's any sideboard changes that I want to make play or draw. This hand could be quite good. It could be just straight up run over. So we're going to see. If they play a turn 1 birds, that would be ideal. But no bird. Playing a Serum Visions. This would lead me to believe that they have the turn 2 Sylvan Carry added, which is quite bad for me, I'll be honest with you. The only interaction we have is creature removal and hexproof creatures. Oh, that is quite good. Just gonna go ahead and do this now. Only interaction we have is creature removal, and hexproof creatures obviously are quite good against creature removal. Yes, Sylvan Carry added. What are we doing? Anger of the Gods. That's a good draw. Gives us a clean answer to the Sylvan Carry added next turn. Depending on what they do this turn. Yeah, that's fine. Depending on what they do this turn, we could very well be casting Blood Moon on the following turn. Like if they just Glittering Wish for Ascendancy, play attack. Yeah, I'm just 1000% playing Blood Moon here, and we're gonna Skred this. Blood Moon. Your turn, kind sir. I am playing with mountains. Now you are playing with mountains. And now we are playing with mountains. They obviously have basic lands in their deck. But they have not drawn any so far. And I believe this is going to be a concession anger. Maybe not. I'm just going to go get liquid metal coating. Hey, we came out on top that game. I really thought we were going to lose game 2 for a little while, but turned out okay. This hand's a little weird, but we're on the draw. We have a Scrying Sheets and an Arcum's Astrolabe for an extra draw. So interestingly enough, this does, because it's a snow land, it makes snow mana. So we can use that to cast the Arcum's Astrolabe. First draw step was not kind. Second draw step was not kind, but that one's not too bad though. That one at least gives us another redraw. Yeah. This is a matchup where Squee the Immortal and Eternal Scourge are quite annoying for the opponent, assuming that we're playing against just straight up blue-white. No third land, though, is a little annoying. But it's not the end of the world because we can just discard the Squee the Immortal, and we can cast that from the graveyard. Also, our opponent's not doing anything, so. Snow-covered mountain. And we're just going to Blood Moon here. Okay, force a negation. And we'll do it again. Your turn. We'll cast an Eternal Scourge. Actually, now that we've drawn the land, we'll go ahead and cast the Karn. And we'll minus for the liquid metal coating, and we'll start blowing up some of their lands. Easy win. Okay, so this is a matchup where Anger of the Gods and Skred are not at their greatest. They're not playing very many creatures, so we want to just kind of win off the back of our combo and planeswalkers and things like that. So Pillage is going to be better than Anger of the Gods, almost assuredly. Beyond that, there's not really much we can do. Like, a Braid could be fine if they have, like, some random artifact, and Skred is fine if they're playing, like, you know, some weird top-in. Like, if they're playing Lyra Dawnbringer or something to that effect, you know, Baneslayer Angel. Skred could be fine against those. But I mean, seeing as how we don't really have anything else to board in, there's not much for me to do. The only consideration for anger is if they're playing something like, oh, what's it called? The 3-mana timely reinforcements. And then make a couple soldier tokens, and this would cleanly answer that. But generally speaking, timely is not going to be too effective against us. We don't play very many creatures, so like we're not going to always have a creature on the board for them to just make 3 soldiers with timely. So I'm going to assume that this board plan is better than going heavy on angers over Skreds. So like the other option would be to just like swap these, the Skreds for the angers, but we're going to go with Skred over anger. Yeah, this hand's fine. Turn 1, Arkham's Astrolabe. Go ahead. Worst case scenario here, they play a turn 3 Teferi. That card is quite annoying. Icefang Quaddle is a good card to know about. So this... Just gonna go ahead and bolt it. Snow-covered mountain. And I think I'm just gonna go ahead and just go ahead and pillage their island. Yeah, that's fine. I think I'm gonna lead on Squee. Like if they want to counter this, that's fine. And this just puts a body in play. That can attack some potential planeswalkers if they want to play any. Shocking. The breeding pool into play is a little bit interesting. Probably just going to play like an Icefang Quaddle here. Cryptic Command. What do we do? Draw a card? Yeah, draw a card. Bounce, Squee, draw a card. Okay, I'm gonna attempt to land a Karn. Could very easily lose a grip on this game because the Teferi walks away with it. So I think just trying to back-to-back turns, try and jam Karn is our best approach to this. Uro. Uro's kind of just like a fancy growth spiral here. The relic being in play helps us maintain that. They are going to get to put the Cryptic Command back on top, though, because we don't have the mana to activate the relic here. If they had a fetch land there, they could have technically put the Uro back into play, if they had a green fetch land specifically. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and just cast Eternal Scourge. And Squeeze obviously still in our hand that they know about. Going to relic a card out of the graveyard. Attacked fairy. Path to exile. Just going to recast the Eternal Scourge and leave up Relic's ability. Okay. Yes. They can Ice Fang. Coatl. I'll be honest, among the matchups that I was a little bit scared of facing with this deck, this is probably somewhere near the top. Just we sort of cheesed them out in game one with double Blood Moon, but just the Arkham's Astrolabe mini basic lands deck against our Blood Moon plan is not super effective. Yeah, them pathing their own creature means I have to Relic here. Interesting play. Sure. Sort of a weird line from our opponent. So we can cast I guess the only line we really have... Oh, turn off auto yields. That's not what I meant to do. Okay. Use sideboard. That's what I want. The only line is definitely not passing the turn. Yeah, I think the only line... Oh, no, we're in our instep. Aw, man. It's likely that our opponent had a counterspell anyways, but I would have liked to have at least seen it, I suppose. They have a Jace. Yeah, we're going to concede to the Jace. So the only line that we really had was Karn minus for liquid metal coating, and then target the Teferi with the liquid metal coating, and then it can't activate its abilities because it's an artifact. So I guess the only consideration for sideboarding would be, do I want Skreds or Angers to deal with the 1/1s? And I think Skred's fine. I think it's a fine answer to those guys. There's not going to be very many spots where they flash in double Coatls. So I can get the 2-for-1 with the Angers. Yeah, hand's great. That's a good draw. gonna pillage the island. Just bait out a counterspell, which is fine. Opponent plays an Uro. Blood Moon no longer does much. Its Karn, however, is going to get Force Negation. Yep. Opponent had it all. Turn 2 counter magic into turn 3 Uro into tapped out Force Negation. So we're going to play an Astrolabe, play an Eternal Scourge. And pass. They're likely going to Field of Ruin my scrying sheets, which is fine. It's possible I should have scryed this turn just to try and get some value out of it before it went. Yep, now they get to put Uro into play, and I don't think we can actually beat an active Uro. Skred obviously takes it off the table, so we'd need to draw Skred. Snow-covered mountain is not what I asked for. Go ahead and play the Blood Moon. Why not, right? Attack with Uro. Looks like a Teferi, probably. I'm not sure. Yeah. Yep. You can have a Teferi. And we'll bolt the Uro. Now the Blood Moon is hindering us just slightly because we can no longer activate one of our own value engines in scrying sheets. Yeah, second Teferi likely means that this game is very, very over. We'll definitely try the Karn. But no Such luck. This hand is interesting. We drew the emrakul, so we're already on a mold of 6, basically. And I don't have any way to actually discard this. Basically just have to move to hand size if we want to be able to put this into play. But we have Karn, and we have an Astrolabe. I'm gonna mulligan. Hand's a little awkward. We'll bottom an anger here. This hand's fine. Mutagenic growth. Gross. Blighted agent. We're gonna play our Astrolabe and then Skred this in the main phase. Now we have an Anger of the Gods to sweep them. Skred is quite good against Infect. Generally speaking, you just have like a bunch of removal spells against their creature-based combo deck. Infect was one of the decks that was popular back when this deck won a Grand Prix. It was like Infect and Dredge were some of the more popular decks, so Anger of the Gods, Relic, and all of the creature removal helped against those two decks. I'm gonna go ahead and play Karn. Obviously, my opponent said that they had the Spell Pierce, but I'm just gonna play it in there. If we were playing in the dark, that's what I would do. So I'm not gonna go out based on the knowledge that they have the Spell Pierce. I'm just gonna anger this Glistener Elf and then plan to Skred the Inkmoth Nexus. And we'll crack a Relic here just to draw a card. Play another Karn. And with this one, I'm gonna go ahead and go get probably just liquid metal coating. I guess with the no, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. These are pretty good. Relics or whatever. Lukka is not the great. I mean, We do want a win condition, but we'll board those out, and then these will definitely be coming in. So we need to take out 3 more cards. So it probably needs to be like, Karns are like pretty good as a winning condition package. So we'll do like Lukka and like double Astrolabe. Astrolabe actually has like some no, that's not what I want. I'm gonna close that and we'll open the game log. Opponent moles to 6. I think I'll do the same. Opponent mulligans to 5. I mean, if we draw lands here, this hand is quite good. And we have the turn 1 Skred for any of their 1/1s. We have Pillage, Anger of the Gods, and our combo. All we need is lands. I'm going to keep this. And we're going to bottom the Karn. This is definitely a greedy keep, so if I get punished here, it's all on me. But sometimes, you know, we come with the intent of being a little greedy. Sometimes you just want to push the limits. See what your deck can do. We did it. We did it, chat. I'm just a simple man with a plan. Spell Mosquito. Well, Spell Mosquito is quite annoying. Scale up. A little bit awkward, I'll be honest with you, that Pillage says Artifact as well here. I think if they have any pump spell, we're dead. Yeah. That's enough. Enough to get me. We'll just run it back. Same iteration. Yeah, we'll keep this. Again, another 1-lander, but we have an Arkham's Astrolabe to help with our mana. hopefully at least. And then we have 2 1-mana removal spells. Probably just gonna go get a basic forest here if I had to guess. So I'm gonna Skred this and see if they take the bait. Because previously they mutagenic growthed their Glistener their Noble Hierarch to grow it out of Skred range, but I wanted to see if they would realize that this is also a snow permanent. This actually deals 3 damage. I don't really see any reason to jam Blood Moon on this turn. Like the Shockton Blight Breeding Pool just tells me that they probably have a Spell Pierce. I don't, like, they usually don't play stuff at instant speed. Like, it's not, they don't like play Ice Fang Quaddles or anything like that. Yeah. Do I draw a card with Scrying Sheets, or do we bolt the Blighted Agent? I think we're supposed to bolt the Blighted Agent. Yep. Blossoming Defense. And then here, I'm going to play a Blood Moon. The opponent doesn't actually have much in the form of, like, things that can cast these spells. Lands that can cast these spells, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and play Karn and tutor up an Arkham's Astrolabe and just play that, draw a card. And I don't think I can die on this next turn, but I would not put it past them. They have another basic land in their hand, especially. So ideally, we get to untap with the Karn, go find our... Okay. Scale up is nasty. If they have, like, double mutagenic growth here, we're dead, but otherwise... Actually, I did misplay there. I should have just gotten the liquid metal coating to target the forest. But the pillage answers that anyways. So now what do we get? There's... Again, really wish that I had a land here to go get. So I think we'll be getting another Arkham's Astrolabe. Let's pillage this. Go grab an Arkham's Astrolabe. Cast it off with Scrying Sheets. Draw a 1-mana removal spell. I'm just going to do this now. Plus on... I probably should have just plus on an Astrolabe and attacked them. We'll play an Eternal Scourge. So they go. Now we want to draw a Lukka. Lukka probably ends the game on the spot. Attack for 4. Just going to play out a second Blood Moon and then target Astrolabe. Worst case scenario, they are able to find a forest and blow up 1 Blood Moon and then animate the Inkmoth Nexus. And they have some crazy combination of cards. They have to be like Nature's Claim. So like Forest, Nature's Claim, animate, fetch, get 2 more lands. And then have like pump spell, or something like that. That's how we lose that game. So I wanted to play the second Blood Moon there. Cool. So we are 2-1 so far with our mono red Skred Lukka deck. Haven't even put Lukka into play yet. So mono red Skred is just doing its thing so far. Opponent taking their sweet time. Mm-hmm. Triple Anger of the Gods against the Steam Vince deck is not promising. Hopefully we can just win this game on the back of the Blood Moon. Opponent's doing some Jeskai monk stuff. I had originally thought that the Blood Moon would have helped us out. In this game, but it's looking like basic land. Basic land McGee over here on the other side of the table came prepared for my Blood Moon. Just give me a land, 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 give me a land. Yeah, we did it. We did it, boys. Anger of the Gods. I had originally thought that Steam Vince deck, Anger, you know, not too great, right? He plays Steam Vince, and I got 3 Angers in my hand. It's not gonna be a good game, but you know, maybe. Maybe they just play like another creature here, and we just anger it again. Well, I'm gonna play Karn. See if they counter it. This doesn't necessarily feel like a counterspell deck. Looks more like a tempo deck of some sort. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a liquid metal coating. It's possible I should have taken a little bit longer to think about that line, just because now it's within bolt range, so the liquid metal coating could do basically nothing. Snippety snap, snap, cast the mage. If we draw a land next turn, we could have a pretty good turn in the combination of liquid metal coating eating one of their lands. Or not, you know, just because Lightning Bolt's OP. But yeah, definitely on me for having done that a little bit too quickly. If you guys are enjoying the stream, be sure to check me out on Twitter. Leave me a follow so you guys can tune back into all the streams. I figured if they counter anything, they'd probably counter a Blood Moon, so I wanted them to counter the Blood Moon rather than me just casting Anger of the Gods. Could go either way on that one. Young Peasy. It's a good thing we got these Anger Gods in my hand. We'll go ahead and play out the liquid metal coating, even though it doesn't really do much. As soon as we draw another Karn, it'll do a lot. We'll do Eternal Scourge this turn and Lukka next turn. It's possible actually, yeah, looking back on that, I should do Lukka this turn and then Eternal Scourge next turn, because if they counter the Eternal Scourge or like target it with something, then I can play a second one. Yeah, Lightning Bolt the Eternal Scourge, I guess. Lightning Bolt me. Sure. Are we pathing the Eternal Scourge? Mishra's Bauble. Yep, pathing the Eternal Scourge. Play an Eternal Scourge. Play an Eternal Scourge. Seasoned Pyromancer. Discarding 2 lands. I'm gonna go ahead and anger this turn. I know that seems a little bit weird, but they're an aggressive deck, and I think if we can keep the board clear, like if I tapped out, like mostly tapped out for a Lukka there, and like activated his ability targeting one of the Eternal Scourges, they could very easily have like a Path or a Bolt or even Electrolyze or something like that and target the Eternal Scourge. Electrolyze would be like worst case scenario, they target both of them. You have to get rid of both of them, and then we take 4 off of the attack. So I think this line is a little bit safer. Mentor. A little sad that I'm all out of Anger of the Gods at this point. If we draw a mountain, yeah, mountain's ideal. Go ahead and turn this into an emrakul, or at least attempt to. All right. We did the thing. We're doing it. This is the only line the opponent has, right? They just gotta start throwing them upstairs. I mean, I'm like 1000% blocking all of the creatures that he attacks me with. Okay, Seasoned Pyromancer gives him another thing to sacrifice to the Emrakul, which is not nothing. Yeah, this gives him like 3 things to sacrifice to the Emrakul, which is extremely relevant here. So we're gonna uptick the Lukka, see how many Eternal Scourges I find. Yeah. So we found a Squee, and we have an Eternal Scourge. So I think these can hold off some attackers pretty well, and then the Emrakul is gonna go in. Get on in there. Lukka's plus ability is obviously there mostly as a way to like draw extra creatures, and so like his ability of you may cast them as long as you control a Lukka Planeswalker is like kind of doubly unnecessary because you can already cast these cards from exile. But it is like still a nice way to continue to generate card advantage. Like it doesn't do nothing in this deck, which is what it does in like standard, you know, like where the decks are trying to use token generation to manipulate this card's -2 ability. In this style of a deck, it actually does something. So we're playing against Jeskai aggro. Anger of the Gods was quite good there. Playing lots of tokens, Seasoned Pyromancer, Jace, Bryn's Prodigy, Monastery Mentor, things like that. So I think we're just gonna do something like this. Just bring in one more anger, cut a relic. Relic wasn't too important there. Suppose we could cut a second relic for a pillage. And pillage is probably just strictly fine. It like blows up a basic island or something whenever I play a Blood Moon. When you rent cards from mana traders, they don't let you pick which arts you get. You just kind of get them. But you know, like white border Blood Moons, right? That's what we're here for. We're here to do some white bordered stuff. We're gonna mull this. We're gonna keep this. And we're going to bottom an astrolabe. Gives me a bolt target. That one. I'm always a little sad when I draw scrying sheets. And I'm like, ah, heck yeah, we get to do some value generation with our land this game. But then we draw Blood Moon, and it's like, well, I should probably play Blood Moon. But man, I was excited to do some scrying sheet stuff. So we're just gonna jam it. Again, this opponent was not playing much in the form of counter magic last game, so I'm just going to bank on the fact that they're probably still not playing much in the form of counter magic. They may have like a few spell pierces or something like that, but it mostly looked like Snapcaster Opt, Lightning Bolt style tempo. Am I getting disenchanted? Oh, wear and tear. Opponent got all the value there. That was disgusting. Don't you ever do that to me ever again. I'm gonna just take this turn to just go ahead and play Eternal Scourge. Weird. I mean, I guess it counters Karn. And the Eternal Scourge, obviously. We'll play a squee. A squee. My name's Squee. You gotta be pretty smart to live longer than me, but not being able to die helps. I don't actually know how goblins sound. It's probably like something like that, you know. You gotta be pretty smart to live as long as me, but not being able to die helps. Maybe something like that, kind of like, almost like Eastern. I don't know. They're barders, maybe. Or maybe, actually, goblins are just like ransackers, right? They just take stuff. Your stuff is now my stuff. Scrying sheets, Karn. Am I getting Snap Ceremonious? Ew. Stop it. Stop it right now. So it's actually like this is gonna be one spot in the game where not having Astrolabe in play and having both of our scrying sheets is gonna punish us just slightly, because next turn we cannot cast Anger and Lightning Bolt unless we draw a land. So like, you know, to anyone who thought that maybe playing Astrolabe was a waste of a spot, here is a prime example of why it is still just fine. It's not great, but it's just fine. Don't think it's gonna matter too much, because if the anger resolves, then Like, who cares, right? Yeah, just double attack, that's fine. Block. Anger. Your turn. Honestly, it's possible that, like, I should have just played Squee from the graveyard that turn, because if they want to just keep attacking into Squee, that's, like, probably fine with me. Until they play, like, a Monastery Mentor, or a Young Pyromancer, exactly. One of these two cards. Those are the ones that I'm scared most of. And I would like to have an anger for. So we're going to bolt this here. Hoping they don't have Spell Pierce. But again, opponent has not shown us any form of counter magic just yet. So I'm going to play Lukka and just uptick. Found an Eternal Scourge. Blood Moon's quite good here. Let's start on a Braid. Season Pyro Boy. All right, land here is quite good as well. So we can play Squee and immediately attempt to turn it into an emrakul. And they don't have anything to interact with it, apparently, so. All right, we did the emrakul thing twice. 2 games in a row. My meme is no longer a dream, it's a reality. No thanks. Double planes or quadruple planeswalker in 1 land. Yeah, we'll keep this one and we'll bottom the emrakul. It's not ideal, because we don't have any interaction yet. It looks like our opponent is playing some kind of a creature deck. Please don't be Bogles. I played against Bogles twice the other day with Jund. Alright, it's not Bogles. It looks like mono white Hatebears or like green white Hatebears. Which I'm okay with, I'll be honest with you. It's significantly better for me than Bogles. Oh, there's a Thalia in play. I was like, why can't I play this? There's a Thalia in play. Am I gonna get strip mined here? Please don't strip mine me. Oh, of course. That's fine. That's fine. We'll play this. Say go. Now we've got 2 mana to pay for it if they want to do it again. Attack for 4. Just gonna play my creature out here. Basically, like, have to draw Anger of the Gods on this next turn. I say have. I mean, that's not realistic. Like, ideally, we would draw Anger of the Gods, I guess, is what I should say. But, yeah. First strike 3/2 is not good for me. Oh, and they've got the Field of Ruin. Wait, what? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, the whole time I was thinking that they were going to Field of Ruin me. I don't have any non-basic lands in play. I'm just going to Bolt the Giver. And then if they want to Field of Ruin me, I have 2 mana to pay for the search ability. Yeah, that's fine. Activating Stoneforge. Put a Sophie in play. Put it on the Thalia. And this is where things start to slip away from me. I think I'm gonna go ahead and block here. Yeah, that's like basically the only card that I could have drawn here to keep me in this. So I'm gonna play the Relic, target myself, exile the Eternal Scourge and then replay the Eternal Scourge from exile. And then we'll plan on blocking this again. And they can Field of Ruin my scrying sheets if they want to. And I cannot search. Worst case scenario, they have a Ghost Quarter and they Ghost Quarter one of my mountains too. But this at least keeps us in the game. We get to basically block this Thalia infinitely. So I get to keep playing Magic, but we're not doing much. Blade Splicer? Ooh, animating Stirring Wildwood is terrifying for me. Tag him with everything. Tag him with everything. So we've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 coming at me. So if I block here, I go to I take 10. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so I have to block the Thalia again. And then at this point, I have to crack the relic and hope for like some just absurd draws. I don't know what exactly is going to get me out of this, but yeah, Skred plus Karn, Skred plus land is not going to do it, I don't think. With the Thalia in play, the Karn only really gets Tormod's Crypt. It's the only castable thing. Like we needed a turn where we could have used Karn to tutor up Ensnaring Bridge or something like that, and we needed to be able to empty our hand a little bit better. But drawing 3 Karns here definitely screwed us over a little bit. And not having very much removal from the get-go is also was bad for us. So, Anger of the Gods seems like the best play for us here. And then we're just gonna take out like a relic. Hope you guys are enjoying the stream. If you guys are, be sure to hit that follow button. I go live every weekday. I'm gonna try and start streaming on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're gonna be streaming mostly Modern Magic. So if you guys have any interest in checking that out, be sure to stick around. I also tweet when I go live on my Twitter. Twitter.com /tstriker7. Yeah, we'll keep this. It's not ideal because we don't have a second land. Yorion. Okay, so they are playing Yorion. I didn't actually look at their deck count last game, but they are playing 80 cards. Come on, give me a land. Alright. Still in the game. So, what does this turn look like? I think I want to just bolt. It's between bolting the Thalia or just playing Eternal Scourge. If we play Eternal Scourge, they can't attack with the Thalia unless they have like a Noble Hierarch. We can't play Blood Moon, unfortunately. Blood Moon would be the best line, I think, this turn. We could Abrade the Ether Vial, which takes a lot of mana away from them. They could also just have a 1-drop here. Like, they could just vial in a 1-drop, which would also be not great for us. I'm going to bolt the Thalia, but I could definitely be convinced that that turn has another line that's better. What are we vialing in? Gaddock Teague, okay. I'm gonna play a Blood Moon. And then next turn, I'm gonna plan to Abrade the Ether Vial. And then hopefully, that locks them out of most of what they can do. Yeah, they can Ghost Quarter for a Plains here. Okay. Even mind since there's not nothing. Well, I think that since they got a Plains and the Vial's on 3 now, I'm just going to go ahead and play Eternal Scourge this turn rather than shattering the Vial. Just to keep Gaddock Teague from attacking. They're likely going to put a creature into play anyways with the Vial. Maybe a Blade Splicer. Okay, Flicker Wisp. Exile my Eternal Scourge. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. Takes the Eternal Scourge out of play permanently. Or at least until I recast it. So. Ideally, we draw an Anger of the Gods. We do have 4 of them still in our deck, so. Alright, so the last 2 cards in their hand are Yorion Unknown. I think, unfortunately, I have to abrade the vial here and then just hope to draw Anger of the Gods next turn, because if I just let them put Yorion into play, I'm just in terrible shape. Like, I don't think I can beat a Yorion. Yeah, we'll take 7. Thalia. Yeah, no, I think that means we are definitely dead. Now we're going to draw the Anger. Nope. Still just drew a mountain. Okay, yeah. Unfortunate. 3-2 league. Not too bad. I was pretty impressed, I'll say. You know, like, just mono red Skred, which was popular back when Dredge was like super good, did pretty okay. I think the 2 matches that we lost were, let's see, we beat Jeskai Ascendancy round 1. What did we lose to? Can I pull it back up? Well, I don't remember exactly what it was, but we lost to... Oh, that's right, the control deck. So we lost to Bant control, which I thought was going to be a bad matchup going into it, just because Blood Moon doesn't really do anything against their deck. They're kind of a very basic heavy deck with Arkham's Astrolabes now, and our deck is not very good against counter magic. Like, the best engines that we have against counter magic are our Eternal Scourge plus Relica Progenitus engine. Which, don't get me wrong, like, is pretty good. But you know, you can't just outpace Cryptic Command bouncing Mystic Sanctuary every turn, and Teferis, whatnot. So, not the best league, not the worst league. So, what do we want to do now?